Friendship. Friendship, you're saying? Friendship? Friendship. I'm Corey Rainey. I'm the Unemployable Counsellor. And I haven't done one of these in a while, but I thought it was time. And I like to take a little focus on friendship. I think that means different things to different people. If you don't have a large circle of friends, the idea of friendship might be something very rare and unique indeed. Or if you have a lot of friends or a big social circle, it might not seem like that big of a deal. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of men. And I'm looking at, obviously, I am a guy. But I also know, like, men, there's a loneliness epidemic, they say, with men, especially men of a certain age, right? And I mean, where just speaking from some experiences, I guess, but mostly from conversations I've had, knowing what it's like to, kind of not have a large circle of friends. Growing up, I like to keep things small that way. And like I have a couple good friends, one I reconnected with after like 20 years. And it's like, you kind of pick up like you never left off, which is kind of cool. Same with, I have a friend of mine who lives a couple doors down. Well, we'll call him a friend. No, he lives just 2 doors down. We don't hang out all the time, but when it's like I said, you pick up like you haven't missed a day. Right? And I'm starting to see now that that's the type of friendships, if you're really in a jam and you needed someone to talk to, those are the people that would be there, right? Now, I've been in experiences where I've worked with people or people work with people that you think were your friends or whatever the case may be. And then you can't be friends in the workplace. You can try, but you can only manage your intentions, not anyone else's. So when I think of the men's lonely epidemic, I think a lot of it, sometimes we do it to ourselves. The stigma of we got to be this, and this in order to be successful, or in order to be seen as a man, right? And also, too, if you have friends that lie constantly, all the time, I don't really consider that friends, right? So I'm just looking at it from the perspective of, let's say even you have a work friend, right? They're work friends, right? Or you have someone that let's say you were friends before, then you end up being in a situation where you're with that person. And then when you kind of realize in that sort of stuff, you kind of see what people are really like. And like I said, if everyone has done everything, they're always in the right. They know what's best to do, even when they don't. And they can't listen to anyone else. They'll just do what they think is best, regardless of anything, because they know more than everybody else. Those are not key factors for a relationship. And honestly, integrity matters even with friendships, because if your friend's talking bad about you and you're not around, that's not a friend. Right? Or 2 stories, that kind of stuff. And what I'm saying is this. I think for men, finding someone with similar interests, solitary nature maybe. Like for me, I can hang out every couple of months and be okay, right? Be different if you had a girlfriend. There's a lot more involved with that as well. But I do think that if you have friends that are only there because it's convenient for them or they can get something out of it, or even worse, try to set you up. And I don't mean with a spouse or a date. I mean for a fall, right? You got to weigh that shit out. It's just how it is. But, yeah. People are people can be very difficult sometimes. When people don't have the purest of intentions, you get situations like a lot of people find themselves in, right? Screwed over, or, just a bad situation made worse because of their own inability to take any responsibility for themselves. That's a bugger. And, and there's a history leading up. No one is 100% innocent. But I do think a lot of times people do act a bit cowardly in the sense where they would rather not say anything because it might make them look bad, or truth might come out. Or even worse, they just beg and they grovel because I have kids, or whatever the case may be, right? Sometimes you just have to be a decent person. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. When you start screwing other people over just because you think you might get into trouble, that says more about you than it does about anything else. And yeah, at the end of the day, I guess you got what you wanted. But I also am a firm believer that what goes around comes around. And there's nothing anyone could do to those people that they're not doing to themselves, because they're going to be living through their own type of purgatory, and they're going to be suffering their own type of hellfire. It has nothing to do with anything you're doing. It's everything that has to do with their doing. Maybe they're shitting blood. Who knows? Maybe they have health issues for that. Who knows? I don't know. Right? I mean, I think people that play the sympathy card all the time are doomed to probably get the most punishments. Because if you're a fan of literature, look at Dante's Inferno, right? Betrayal is the dead center, right? I don't know. What can you say? Part of my thumb keeps coming into the conversation, and that is my thumb. I just thought I'd point that out. But listen, for me, friendship matters. You just got to be a good person, put your best foot forward, right? You don't need to screw people over in order to feel good about yourself. And I've been in manager positions a lot. Probably half my life I've been in a management position, right? And I always found too, sometimes the higher you get, the oilier it is. And sometimes people don't do the ethical thing, even when they should, because they're getting something out of it. And that's the real shame here. Especially when your service is one to protect or to help or to do any of those kinds of things, right? That's why you need things like governing bodies. You need people to check. You need checks and balance. You need that. You need someone to be able to troubleshoot things, because it's not always easy, especially when you're in an environment where you're on an island or you're by yourself. The same goes with friendships. If you're not feeling it, or if they're acting like that, if they're saying shit in front of you, like, I don't know, undermining your ideas, or all of a sudden an idea is theirs over yours, like that stuff that if you let slide, they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to think that that's their ideas, or wait, I can do this better because right, or whatever, right? Personally, I think people I can understand ambition, but I don't go for the dual nature of a lot of people. And by that, I mean two faces, right? Janus, right? If you want to go down to it. Right? The Roman god, no one in particular. But yeah, even Mando really doesn't like that. And I can always tell the people that my dog doesn't like. He's a very good judge of character, young Mando. But hey, this is friendship. A very quick conversation on my take on we should all just relax and be ourselves. And, if people aren't willing to respect you, treat you like you deserve to be treated, if they're just, if people are bad-mouthing you, talking negatively, making up stories, but not doing anything about it, because then that would mean actually providing some sort of evidence, right? You got to watch that stuff. Not everybody's your friend who says they're your friend. Not everyone who says, I love you, buddy, loves you. They might love your job. They might love what you have. And they want it. So, word to the wise, everyone. Pick your friends wisely. And just because you don't have a lot of friends doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Sometimes it's quality over quantity. This is our first in a while. We're going to be doing a lot more of these. I'm shooting for one a week, a little bit longer. And in the meantime, if you haven't liked and subscribed and you made it this far, please do so now. Corey Rennie, Unemployable Counsellor. Friendship from a man's perspective. A man of a certain age. Take care. And thanks for watching.